This is Untapped Libraries, the podcast that's all about the New York Knicks and nothing else. I'm a Neale.
I'm B. Vinny.
A Vinny?
I am a Vinny, yeah. But I'm also maybe the Vinny.
I think you're the Vinny.
I'm the
it's
Vinny,
true.
yeah. Who else could be me?
Who else?
So today on Knicks Talk, we're gonna
How about
pivot.
those Knicks?
How about those Knicks?
I realize this is probably coming out like after the NBA Finals are done, but at this point they haven't started yet.
Also, you're talking to someone who has never watched, either in person or on TV, an entire NBA game from start to finish.
Well, we can fix that.
I don't think we will today. Okay, so we've covered Knicks Talk, so we can pivot to our usual topic, which is Magic the Gathering.
I thought it was very clear. I said it's about the New York Knicks and nothing else.
What's new in Magic World with you, Neale?
Honestly,
Yeah.
my Magic world is kind of in a little lull. We're right before the Marvel set starts coming out, and I've been really, really busy, and I don't have honestly that much to talk about.
I've been in a bit of a lull too. We haven't played in a minute.
You know why?
Why is that?
It's because of pickleball.
It's because of
It is
pickleball.
actually literally because of
It
pickleball.
has, yeah. We
And the Montreal Canadiens.
and the Montreal Canadiens
and the New York Knicks.
and the New York Knicks.
Yeah,
we've had picked up a lot on our plate, but I have had some, like, I've been, as always, I'm eternally sorting cards, so that's an ongoing project. However, one of my friends found their old cards from Revised when they were a kid.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, oh, are these worth anything? And then turns out, yeah, they had like a couple of like Revised dual lands and some demonics.
Well, pretty good.
So it's not bad. And they asked me to help them sell them, and they sold. Got a pretty good deal.
They're already sold.
They're
already?
gone. Yeah.
Right.
They don't take long to sell those.
Yeah. Okay.
Revised duels.
And in good shape too.
And they're in great shape. Yeah. So easy sale. I got to help my friend get some money from this little find that they had. Everybody wins.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, all I've been doing is I've painted a few cards, but I'm kind of doing it a little more slow than I used to. I'm trying to take my time. So a card might take me, especially with life being so busy, it might take me a few weeks of little touch-ups and little improvements here or there.
But that's cool because you were altering all of your decks, so that's a lot to go through. But now that you're not so pressured, you can be a little more patient about it.
I think sometimes I was like going a little too fast. I was like, I need to do like 2 cards a night or something like that. I realized that I can learn more about painting if I slow down a little bit and be a little more thoughtful and take my time.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you have the time for that.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for some untapped gems?
Gems. So I know you didn't have one until like 5 minutes ago.
I got one, though.
So do you want me to go first or
go for it? You go for it. Better not be the same as mine.
Okay. Mine is Gnarls Barkley, the singer, aka Sinister Gnarlbark, which is a very recent card from Lorwyn Eclipse. It is a 30-cent creature that's basically a Phyrexian arena.
Okay. For half a second, I thought there was a secret lair in Gnarls Barkley. And like, I could absolutely believe that.
It's literally called Sinister Gnarlbark.
Okay.
So it really, to me, sounds like Gnarls Barkley.
Right.
So yeah, it's a black and 2 gray for an 0/4 Treefolk Warlock that just has, on your end step, you draw a card and blight 1. Really simple. I think it's really good in a bunch of decks where you can turn that little downside into an upside, where you're blighting stuff and you want it to die anyways, or you want it to get smaller anyways. So this was a slam dunk in my Charade deck, where Charade will reanimate creatures that die that are power 1 or less. But you have some creatures which I play incidentally, which have power more than 1, and I can't reanimate them. So the example that I thought of was Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which has power of 2. But if I Gnarlbark it to
you blight it
to 1 to blight it, sacrifice it to something, Charade will bring it back. So I thought it was a cool little card that I haven't really seen people talk about, and it's 30 cents.
Amazing. And I'll never get over the fact that you call it 2 gray.
I have to now. It's like a bit. All right, what do you got?
What I've got is a card I think I actually first saw you play. When I'm playing blue, I always struggle in commander games to deal with mass removal that isn't like Etherize or something like Cyclonic Rift or something like that. The card that helps me out is the Phasing of Zalfir.
Oh yeah, the classic blue enchantment board wipe.
Exactly. A blue enchantment board wipe is exactly what you need. So it's 2 gray, blue. So it costs 4 enchantment saga. Steps 1 and 2 are another non-target non-land permanent phases out, and it can't phase in for as long as you control the phasing of Zalfir the saga. So it will go away. It's a saga. When the time you put the third one on, because there's only 3 steps, the third chapter is destroy all creatures. Amazing for 2 blue and 2.
Yeah, in a blue mono blue deck.
In a mono blue deck, you're struggling for board wipes. This is pretty great. However, for each creature destroyed this way, its controller creates a 2/2 black Phyrexian creature token. So you haven't really wiped the board.
Yeah.
But you have replaced what are probably a bunch of horrible threats with a bunch of little 2/2 bears. So it's not so bad.
Yeah. And if you're in a go wide deck.
And if you're in a go wide deck, you come out ahead because now everybody has 2/2 bears, but you've got more of them. And it has read ahead. So you do not have to go through the whole phase this out, phase that out. You just can skip to the third chapter, board wipe immediately. And you can do all sorts of shenanigans if you have, say, token doublers. Then you get twice as many.
Yeah.
You can use the first 2 chapters to phase out your own stuff and then somehow add chapter tokens and then protect your stuff as you board wipe.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of shenanigans you can do, but the number one thing is blue 2 board wipe from mono blue. That's a great tool to have.
Great pick. I played in a Phyrexian deck, so I even have a Phyrexian
nice.
synergies going on.
Well, there you go. And it's also 30 cents, so untapped gem.
Nice. All right, so who is our guest this week?
Yeah, our guest this week is someone who plays old school Magic, and it's a defined term, and we're gonna have our guest explain it to us. So let's welcome to the show, Pete. Pete, come on down.
Sounds like it's time to unmute. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here. Yeah. So I've met you a few times. You live local to us here in Montreal. As soon as I found out you play old school Magic, I definitely need to know more.
Sure. I mean, I can definitely tell you about old school Magic, and I imagine you guys not playing it. Might sound as crazy to me as all the stuff you were just talking about Magic. I don't know any of those cards. I don't know any of those interactions. I don't really know how sagas work, and I don't know what it is to blight something. So it's really like I'll give you Magic like the dinosaur version, basically.
Amazing. Yeah, but before you start, why don't you give us a little intro about yourself? Like, who are you?
Okay, well, I'm Pete. I live in Montreal. I'm a dad. I'm married. I got a bunch of kids. I'm mostly like, other people's dad. That's what people call me now. No one actually calls me by my name. You're like, oh, you're Cody's dad, or you're Milo's dad, or you're Kaya's dad. But in my alternate life at night and sometimes on trips, I'm like heavily into Magic the Gathering, but just like old school stuff. I would say it's actually at COVID that we're just, like we're chatting a little bit, pre-show. And it seems to be like a commonality right around that time. I guess my kids were getting to that age. I guess I had this sort of time at night, and I thought, I wonder if Magic cards still like exist as a thing. Like I really didn't. That's how much I put it down. Like I stopped playing Magic shortly. Like the last set I bought was Ice Age.
Okay, that gives us a good idea.
I saw Alliances got released. I don't remember buying any of it really, and I just kind of put it down. I was getting into college shortly thereafter, like in a couple of years, and I just actually sold all my cards. I never thought about it again. For many, many years, like until maybe like 2018 or 2019. At that point, I hired somebody to work with us, and he started talking about Magic cards. I was surprised. I'm like, it's Magic cards still exist? And genuinely, my surprise about that is because if you were there in the 90s, like Magic was released, Pokemon was released shortly after, and those are the 2 that stuck. But I could name like a dozen TCGs that aren't here anymore, like Wyvern, Vampire the Masquerade, what's the other one there? It was like very a little bit more risky. Anyway, there are just tons of these things coming out, right?
Yeah. I
thought Magic was special to me. I didn't realize Magic was also going to become special to the world as a whole, right? And continue on and change. I remember at that moment I said, oh man, you know what I want to do? I want to get some of my adult friends now. We're going to play Magic. It's going to be so much fun. I went to a store. I saw Core Set 2019. I'm like, I'm an adult. I'm just going to buy the whole box. Like, what I mean? Like as a kid, I was like, how many packs should I get was my first thought.
Yes.
Like, how many packs should I get? I'm like, wait a second. I have like adult money. I'm just buy that box. The guy's like, give me the box. How much is the box? Give me the box. I start opening up this box with my friends, and I'm reading these cards. I have absolutely no clue how these things work. Like cards, again, picture like Ice Age is the last thing I saw. Like a 2/2 for 2 mana is a super solid creature.
Yeah. You've been frozen in an ice block for 30 years.
Yeah.
There's no downside, and it's a 2-2 for 2. That's amazing. Savannah Lions
Yeah.
is like a peak creature.
It's like you thought from the Ice Age.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really. And I was just like, there's mechanics I don't know. Everything's doing too much. And I realized I can't teach these people magic because I don't understand magic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the urge to collect was still there. And I felt like this ripple shift in my life, like almost like everything vibrated, and like there was like these two paths in a row. And like if I'm like start looking into old cards again, I feel like my life's going to turn this way, or my life can continue on the way I was going. And I really felt like this thing was happening in this moment. I didn't think about it much afterwards. I just kept getting into magic. I started buying old cards. I started buying cards from the 90s. I started buying cards from everything before Scourge, basically. Scourge and before what people call pre-modern, because I wanted to learn about the art and the stuff I had missed, and I was just interested in that. I mean, that's what drew me into, that's why I'm here on the show now, because you could say that spiraled irresponsibly out of control. Like, you know, I became obsessed for some periods of time about just about everything I could possibly learn about magic, including how to play again. Then, to my great relief, after a couple of years of collecting cards, I found out that people actually play with the old cards.
Yeah.
You know, because it was like my wish, it was like my dream. I wish somebody still played the old cards. And I found there's actually communities that host tournaments around the world, even here in Montreal. There's a monthly meetup here in Montreal. You play with cards only printed in 1993 and 1994, like very specifically. The card pool is very small. It's like 1,000 cards.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
So you're playing without Garfield cards and without SpongeBob, without Ninja Turtles.
Yes, to put it mildly. Yeah, I mean, to put it out, but I mean, if you like that stuff, I'm not gonna like yuck on someone else's yum.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's no card with like a Terminator on it, right? But like, if you like a Ninja Turtle and you want to paint that on your card, that's fair game in old school. You can still play with that.
That's awesome.
No, here's a question I have. Like a card like Lightning Bolt has been reprinted like a zillion times. Can you play with any Lightning Bolt, or when you play these formats, do they like want people to play like, no, you got to play like an old school Lightning Bolt?
Well, that's a good question. Okay, so it's pretty casual. I just want to say, like, in general, it's extraordinarily casual.
Right.
Some people, like, for example, the Swords to Plowshares, right, been reprinted 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Some people's favorite version of that, mine included, honestly, is the Kaja Folio version from Ice Age.
Yeah.
I don't play with it. A lot of the leagues play online. So the nice thing about old school cards, the fact that there are only 1,000 cards in that format, they're very visually recognizable. So if you start playing with different arts, it becomes kind of burdensome to people to figure out what you're playing with across the table.
Right.
Yeah. So you don't, you know, there's a certain amount of that. Like, I think there's a common sense leeway. Like new Magic now, right? How do you even know what people are playing across the table from you?
You have to go more by name than by art.
But you're not visually recognizing anything.
Yeah.
I'm a very visual person, and you can't really go by visuals.
Yeah, I just like, why is there Transformers on your battlefield?
It's just a regular thing, but it has a Transformers on it. Like, it's this other thing, it's this other version of it. That happens in old school sort of because of alters, but the format is so familiar that it kind of lends itself to kind of like, as soon as someone starts playing, you can almost intuitively understand other cards that might be in their deck.
Right.
Just because of archetypes, like within a small format, right?
Right.
But also old school cards are very different. Lightning Bolt and all the old school cards were designed at the time to be visually recognizable at a table, right? Like, so you didn't have to constantly read it. When I look at new cards, that's not the case. The original prints of these cards are like, you know, like say a Wheel of Fortune, right? The original print, the guy who did the art, Daniel Jalon, the print is only like this big.
Yeah, it's like the size of a book.
Yeah, it's like 8 inches by 5 inches or something like that.
But the new art is done on massive canvases and then shrunk down and compressed into the space of a card. Yeah. Which does, to me, kind of makes this constant effect of you're feeling like your eyes aren't good enough to see everything that's going on there or whatever. You know,
or it's drawn on an iPad, which is also gives it a certain aesthetic that I definitely prefer the physical art and art that you can see the brushstrokes. To me is a feature, not a bug.
Yes, it's not a problem. I think it's kind of interesting to see that people still want to play with physical cards in the digital age. That's always like a nice part of it, right?
And so one of the things that I'm curious about is, like, it sounds like there's like multiple formats of this, like and like what are their names? Like what, like maybe we're opening a whole can of worms.
We are.
Like, what are like some of the major like formats here?
So that's what's crazy is like with such a small card pool that there are actually so many formats. When you say old school, you usually mean cards that were printed in 1993 or 1994.
Okay.
The Swedes were the first ones to start playing this, as far as I know, and there's a format called Swedish.
Okay.
What defines this format is it's the only old school format without mana burn.
Okay, so that's one of the rules.
That's one of the main things that actually defines it a lot. The other thing that kind of defines old school formats is how many strip mines you play with.
Oh boy.
So it makes a big difference in the gameplay. So the Swedes do one of those, and they have their restriction and ban list is very similar overall, except that, like, say for example, Mishra's Workshop, a very powerful land, you can only play one in Swedish. Come over here to North America, what most people play is either Atlantic or Eternal Central. Eternal Central plays with 4 strip mines, it plays with 4 workshops, it plays with 4 recalls, which kind of makes a deck like, I don't know if you ever heard of Twiddle Vault.
No. Oh, I guess it's Time Vault and Twiddle.
It's Time Vault, yes, and Twiddles. And so with 4 recalls, that deck is really a thing in that format, for instance. Whereas in in Swedish, it's restricted. Recalls restricted. Time Vault, I believe, is restricted.
Okay.
And then Atlantic is a 1 strip mine format, but it allows 4 workshops, and that's very defining as well. Also, the Swedes don't play with Fallen Empires.
Why is that?
Because they just didn't start that way. They just didn't, even though it's printed 94. Like, here's a funny thing: they play with Summer Magic cards, which were printed afterwards, which are revised.
Oh, interesting.
Or sort of not really printed afterwards, but they draw this distinction where they stop playing at unlimited. So it's ABU, no cards printed after unlimited, actually.
Okay.
And that's why Fallen Empires was actually cut out.
I was going to say that most formats play without Fallen Empires cards.
But it happens naturally. You don't have to tell anything.
Just because of Fallen Empires.
It's not a rule. It's just a thing that's understood. You don't want that, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that's interesting is just for people who aren't familiar with this, when you say workshop, you mean Mishra's Workshop.
I do mean Mishra's Workshop.
So that's the land that taps for 3 that can only be spent on.
Yeah, I think I have a few.
Yeah, it's $2,500 ish.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, but this is actually a shops deck over here. The other part of what's on my desk is like in a different format called X Points, which I really love this format. It's an attempt to moderate old school. So they take all the best cards, all the broken cards, all the Moxes, the Black Lotus, the Ancestral Recalls. They don't just restrict them. They actually add a point value to them. And your deck may only contain 10 points.
Okay.
That's a super great format to get into. It's still developing. New decks are still popping up. There's not a consistency of one deck always winning, and they can adjust the points to moderate that.
Certain cards have certain point values, and then you can only have 10 points. So it's like, I think it's Canadian Highlander.
Canadian Highlander also has a point system.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more hotly debated than how many points certain things should have, right? Like everyone's like, Workshop happens to be 1, but a lot of people feel like that should be 2,
Okay.
Whereas we're saying Fallen Empires before, but Fallen Empires does bring something to old school. It brings a few things, but Hymn to Turak.
Hymn to Turak is the card we guessed would be playable.
That's an automatic 4 in a black deck, right? And that makes that's a very strong card. And that used to be at 1 point, and now it's at 2 in that format.
Okay.
Because of how dominant it was.
Okay, so you can play a 4 of them, but
that's almost all your points.
That's 8 points right there.
Yeah, that's most of your points.
Yeah, as opposed to when it was only 1, and then that was only 4 points, and you had a lot more you could add to your deck.
So it's amazing that all these, like, every community has this like hotly debated topics, and like you're like, this is how I feel. No, this is what are you talking about? You're completely wrong. And then like nobody else is talking about it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. It's what is that thing? Groupthink or group talk? When you're very concentrated on what you're doing, but not at all the outside world. And there's lots of 40 card formats. There's formats that only play with unlimited, so unlimited 40, so only the base set unlimited.
Oh, wow.
And then there's Alpha 40. It's almost the same set as unlimited, but it plays with a really funky set of rules. It plays with the rules as written in the first rule book that came up.
As written.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And the group tried to interpret it, so it's got its own kind of set of rules.
Wow.
And it does not use the modern. Yeah, it's
so
really
it doesn't
crazy.
Use the stacked.
It's a modified stack, I imagine.
Just like me, it didn't use the stack back in the day. I didn't know how to. I had to learn the stack. Like, that's a great invention. I got to give it to people, and that was a great thing to come up with. But we had a sense of like first in, last out.
Right.
Yeah.
Back in the day, but we always had this debate: what happens if I'm attacking and you lightning bolt my creature and I giant growth it? What happens?
Right.
Or does it matter if the order is reversed? Right. And like, obviously, as a person who understands the stack, right? Like, most people would say they know what would happen in either case, but it wasn't clear back then.
Right.
There was nowhere to look this up, and we really had to decide. Alpha 40 has decided that both things happen at the same time.
Oh, interesting.
For that one interaction, that's yeah.
I kind of like that idea of like there were all these problems. They were all solved, and we're rejecting all those solutions. Like,
you have to come up with a whole new set of solutions.
yeah, and a whole new set of problems, and
new sets of problems. Well, then again, modern Magic players took out mana burn. Why? That would solve. That wasn't what problem did mana burn cause that it needed to be removed?
yeah,
What did that affect in the game mechanics? That I feel like objectively it belongs in there, so that cards like Power Surge, which I don't know if everybody knows. I think it's a 2-red enchantment, and it says that at the end of your turn, any lands that are untapped cause you 1 damage.
yeah.
So now it's no big deal. You just tap your lands, but that was like you just be burning. It's like it'd be burning somebody down. Or a card like Suchi, a 4/4 artifact for 4 mana.
Yeah.
Which is a great card in old school. It's even better in Swedish because when it goes to the graveyard, it gives you 4 mana. That you would burn for that mana if you don't have a place to dump it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why Suchis, for instance, are found in a lot more decks in Swedish, but not in the other old school formats as much.
We brought you to talk about one deck that you're currently working on for a whole other old school format.
This format's called Boreal, which is almost the same as Eternal Central.
Okay.
It's a very Canadian format. I mean, this is my opinion, but I find everywhere I go to play Eternal Central, people are playing Boreal. So maybe it's replacing it a little bit. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the people I play with.
Yeah, let's do an overview of what Boreal is. I think a lot of our listeners won't have even heard of it.
So Boreal, the legal sets are Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Arabian Nights, Antiquities, Legends, The Dark, Fallen Empires.
That's it.
And that's it.
It's absolutely it. Unless I'm forgetting something.
So that's up till what, 94-ish?
Yeah, I guess that's 94.
It's about 1,100 cards in the format, approximately.
Okay. And it's very funny because that is when I started playing. The first packs I got were Fallen Empires.
Yay! You were
The Dark was
so happy.
I just
You're
snuck
so
in.
happy. It's like,
I remember seeing like some boosters of like the Dark and Legends, and they were like, "What are those?" Ooh. And I'd buy a pack of the Dark and be like, "What are these cards?" And but I was like a little guy.
That's one of my favorite sets.
I was a little guy too. I bought so many Fallen Empires packs because they were so much cheaper, and I didn't. They famously way overprinted them. It's not a good set. I have a soft spot for it.
I do too.
It was also, I mean, I know that there were a couple of cards that they printed multiple arts of, but they printed multiple of certain commons with totally different art.
Yes.
Which I thought was crazy at the time.
It was like 3 Thallid arts.
Yeah. Every Thallid had 3 different versions.
Yeah, 4. They had 4 of it. They had like Goblin Grenade. Everything was the 4 of it. It was one of the first sets. Maybe Ice Age did it too. I can't remember, but I think it's one of the first that did that.
Well, Mishra's Factory had multiple versions.
That's right, the Mishra's Factory. That's right.
Not to get off topic, but check this out. So if you remember Fallen Empires and you were playing it at that time, do you remember a game called Wyvern?
Yes,
yeah,
I do.
I know the name.
Remember that game? It was like a Dragons game?
Yeah. I never played it, but I remember it.
Yeah.
My sister played it, and I played it with her. It was printed at the same print facility as Fallen Empires, as all the Magic stuff was Cardamundi in Belgium. So these are Fallen Empire cards, right? You guys recognize the thralls and stuff?
So these are thralls. Yeah. You're showing us some thralls from Fallen Empires, yeah. And then on the back, does it say Wyvern? That's amazing.
It's a Wyvern back. It's a Wyvern back Magic card.
That's really cool.
Technically, it's a Magic fronted Wyvern card because these came from Wyvern starter decks.
Oh, fascinating!
Back in the day,
wow.
Because they screwed up. They printed one side of one sheet. They didn't realize it. They flipped it. They put it in, and then they cut it up and put it in the wrong.
Wow!
Wow! And that's been going on. It is still going on to this day. Where people are getting Ninja Turtles cards and their Lorwyn.
Printing error. I mean, it's inevitable. You're humans, huh? The AI hasn't completely taken over.
Yeah. So they spoiled Fallen Empire and Wyvern, I guess.
Amazing. Okay, and so this Boreal format.
Yeah, let's keep going through the
let's keep stay on topic if we possibly could.
And so what are some of the specific rules here? Do we have mana burn?
Okay. There's mana burn.
All right. Strip mines.
It also uses modern Magic rules, as we would now.
Okay.
Like modern rules. There's 4 strip mines.
Okay, 4 strip.
There's 4 workshops allowed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of cards in old school that I don't think most people commonly play with. Stuff like Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, Time Twister.
Heard of them?
Wheel of Fortune is played.
Mm-hmm.
The Mox is the Black Lotus. Chaos Orb. Those cards are in this format, but they're restricted to one of.
Okay.
Mind Twist is also one of them. Library of Alexandria is another one.
Mm-hmm.
These are all playable. they're all restricted to one due to the power of those cards.
Okay, I was looking through the restricted list, and there's one card which to me stands out, but I think I figured out why, which is Regrowth, which I don't think of as like a powerhouse card, but I did realize it gets strip mine back.
It actually did for me last night, and I won a game doing that. But actually what it gets back is like, imagine you do something crazy like this. Okay, I have Ancestral Recall. I play Ancestral Recall. Great. I regrowth Ancestral Recall. I play Ancestral Recall. I recall my regrowth and my Ancestral Recall. I Ancestral Recall myself again.
Right.
I regrowth the Ancestral Recall, and I do it again. Like, you've just drawn 15 potential cards.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
There's a reason you have to like limit that interact. I mean, it's cool that happens. These busted things happen, but you don't want it to happen every game.
And I assume a lot of these like tournaments are like very proxy friendly, because otherwise it's going to be very hard to find players.
Actually, they are.
Okay, good.
Not every tournament, but I mean, all the ones in Canada I've ever been to, and also for the most part in the US, are full proxy if you want to.
And wait, and so are there some that are not proxy friendly?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But isn't that the case with current Magic tournaments?
No,
as
sure,
well?
of course. But that seems like a really bold move for an organizer to be like, all right, well, if you want to come play our tournament, you got to have all of these cards. Good luck.
So you said it was very casual, but it's not casual on your wallet.
Well, okay, well, some people just kept their cards the whole time, like they're regular folks, and they just happen to have them. When this old school stuff started, say about 15 years ago, maybe a little more, these cards weren't expensive.
Yeah.
So when they set these rules in place, they had not anticipated anything like this occurring. Right? Not even close. Not even close. Like the cards have gone up 100 times in price from what they were at that moment. And some cards more, maybe some cards less. So there's that to consider. I mean, just because you can't go to maybe like a dozen events a year, but you can go to 1,000 other ones that are proxy friendly. Like, I don't feel that's really restricting the format. And to be honest, like, once you start to play, you'll realize you don't need all the best cards to either have fun or to make a good deck. You can make, like, my current deck is pretty expensive, to be fair. The budget for it is pretty high. But first off, there's cheaper copies of cards, and there's also cheaper decks. So you could make a competitive old school deck for like $1,000.
Okay.
And you could make a fun deck for like a couple $100.
What would a budget deck be in this format? Like a burn mono red aggro deck or something like that?
Yeah, that's pretty good guess, Neil. Yeah, it's goblins. Goblins is like, say, my first one that would come to mind. All the goblins are inexpensive. Goblin Grenade is under $1. You play lightning bolts, you play chain lightning. You'll need a Wheel of Fortune if you want to play it well, so that's an expensive card. You could play it with a Mox Ruby, or you could just not. You could play it with a Black Lotus, but you don't really need to. It just makes your deck that much better, but it doesn't. Sometimes it will be better, but not.
You're not seeing it every game. It's restricted. So
I mean, I've definitely lost. Or I've had close calls. I've seen goblins win a tournament. So that's to say it's still a very good deck. That's a more budget deck. White Weenie is a budget friendly deck. It's mostly like the monocolor decks will automatically be more budget friendly because you don't even need dual lands to play them. I mean, I've seen some commander decks that actually would put my own old school deck.
Absolutely.
The weird versions of things that people seek out and that are very exclusive and expensive.
Very much so.
All serialized cards.
We're not going to go into artificial scarcity, but I could definitely feel like maybe I feel like these cards are worth it because they have been worth it for like a very long time. They've been fun and enjoyed for a very long time. And when they were printed, they weren't intended to become this valuable. The game creator himself said so. Like, he said, no card should really be over $50.
What? How would people react if I played like a Garfield Lightning Bolt in my Boreal deck?
Like, you're not talking about Richard Garfield. You're talking about Garfield the cat.
Garfield the cat. Good point.
Oh, Garfield the cat. I don't know. It depends on the person. I think I'd laugh as long as I knew it was live. I don't really care. Yeah.
And what's really funny is like, I legit remember like when I back in the Fallen Empires day, there was like a store, like the first store in Montreal that was like that I saw selling cards, and it was like on the second floor of this building downtown, and I saw they had like singles for sale, and I saw like these moxes for sale, and I was like, $50? Who's paying $50 for a Magic card? That's insane,
dude. Yeah, I mean, I could just. What do I need a ruby for? I'll just play another.
Exactly.
It's like really. I know. I have famously a friend of mine we talk about bad trades that we've made, and this even predates like Scry and Inquest, where they had values for cards. We were just trading based on how much you wanted or needed the card, right? And he was playing a Walls deck. Which Walls were better back then. He needed an animate wall for his Walls deck, and he ended up trading away a Mox Ruby. Yeah, he traded a Mox Ruby for it. He's probably not going to watch the podcast. I'm not going to say it's a secret, but it's a true story trade that he told me, and it's like, oh boy, probably still hurts a bit.
Try not to think about that one. I've told this story before. I traded a Mox.
I love it though. I love it that he just played what he wanted to play. I mean,
absolutely. I was playing the Star Wars Decipher Star Wars CCG, and I was missing a Millennium Falcon. I was like, I really need this Millennium Falcon. I'm gonna get rid of this card that I don't really think I'm gonna use. This guy wanted a Mox Diamond for it, so I traded the Millennium Falcon for a Mox Diamond, which is now also in retrospect a bad trade.
yeah, not a good trade.
But here's the thing. That's the funny thing about old school. It was a good trade.
No, you're right.
It took 20 years for that not to be good. If something is good for 20 years, if you bought a car and it was good for 20 years, it's a good car.
And I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Back then I would have made that trade 100 times out of 100.
I regret it a little. I still regret it a little. I mean, but you got to regret it a little, otherwise you're crazy.
Okay, you're right.
I mean, you don't regret it in the context of things.
But I can't beat myself up.
You can't feel bad.
No, I can't feel bad. No. Anyways, so Boreal, there's you've mentioned before the podcast that there's a tournament coming up that you're making this deck for.
Yeah, I've taken like about 2 or 3 months off from playing. I've been working like my life, my kids, their sports, business, and I haven't really been playing. But there's this tournament coming up, and I feel like like as soon as the tournament starts to come up, we had a meet up to play, and like people who hadn't showed up to play in probably like 6 months or a year were there because there's just something funny. It's like old school is weird. It's casual but competitive.
Yeah.
Like people want to play their best badly. I don't care about beating somebody. I think most people don't care about that much, but you don't really want to play badly. It feels bad to play badly. It feels bad to also play wrong in a way that's might be like you miss a trigger and you don't take damage or something. Mm-hmm. You don't want to do that. You feel like you really don't want to do it in this like fun and casual format. And yeah, like everybody kind of needs to dust off that rust and tune up their decks and see what's working, right? And get together and play some games. And that's what we did last night. That's when my voice is gone, actually, because we were laughing. And we meet up like at a pub, right? We have drinks and we start playing. And we played like 4 or 5 rounds. I've been working on a few different decks over the last few years. And a couple of the decks that I've been playing, my main deck is, we don't need to go into it too much, but it's a deck called Atog. Mm-hmm. Which the main creatures in this deck are Serendib Efreet and Atogs.
Nice.
Okay.
And a lot of burn.
Okay.
And a lot of burn and a lot of artifacts for the Atog.
Yeah.
And it's a very efficient low to the ground deck. And the other deck that I love a lot is something called Arabian Aggro. Okay. And I've played that at old school tournaments as well. Like some of the best creatures ever printed in old school were printed in Arabian Nights.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'll name it like Juzam Jin, Urnam Jin, Serendib Efreet, Serendib Jin. There's anyway, there's a bunch of Efreets and Jins, and they're all kind of busted. Like I have one here, and it's Serendib Efreet. It's a 3/4 flying creature for 3 mana with 1 blue and 2 colorless.
Blue and 2 for a flying 3/4 is pretty good.
For a flying, it flies like it has an evasive, it's evasion like by today's standards.
But it comes with a big drawback, right? Like a really punishing.
At the time, you think this sucks, right? It also does 1 damage to you on your upkeep.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't care because I'm just trying to hit that person so hard. I can take that damage.
I'll take 1 to deal 3.
It's all about racing. Yeah. The Urnam Jin, I didn't think this was a good card in the day because it's a 4/5 for 4 mana. That's incredible stats.
Yeah. Right.
It's got such a big booty. Like nothing touches a 5 toughness. But it says during your upkeep, you have to give a creature your opponent controls forced walk.
Oh my gosh. Uh-oh.
Which sounds bad.
It sounds bad because you're playing forests.
Yeah, but there's very little chance that they have a bigger creature than the Urnams. It's a good trade, and you weren't going to block anyway. Like you're not on blocking duty. You're coming, you're swinging in. Same with the Serendib. Your intention was never to block. So that. Oh yeah, and Kurdape. That's the other one. Kurdape is a 1 red Kurdape. So it's a red creature, but if you have a forest in play, it gets +1/+2.
Yeah, he's a 1/1
so it becomes
normally.
A 2/3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 1/1 normally. But if you have a forest, so the idea is, you want to play it off your Taiga, right? You play like the dream is turn 1 Taiga Kurdape. You got a 2/3.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. That's the sweet.
That's the best statistics in old school. Like there's nothing that has. So you play all these busted creatures, and you just play a little bit of burn, and usually that will get you there. That can get you over the line, right? They have 20 health. You don't have to, if the amount of burn you're packing 4 lightning bolts. You're packing this other burn spell called in that deck called Chain Lightning.
Yep.
Right. From Legends.
Yeah, it's a lot like a lightning bolt, except it's at sorcery speed. And it actually has a bit of an advantage in some ways because you can actually bounce it. Like there's another card from Arabian Nights. Okay, we're getting off topic, but there's a card called like Rook Egg.
Yeah.
Actually, you could hit your own Rook Egg with your Chain Lightning, pay 2 red mana, and then bounce it and hit like the opponent. And when you kill the Rook Egg, it actually hatches and makes a 4/4 flying creature.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, like that's off topic, but so you play this burn and you play these good creatures. The reason that's a hard deck to play is because of a card called City in a Bottle.
Oh, that's legal.
Yeah,
That's
the
my
hoser cards are legal. Yeah,
I didn't even think of the hoser cards.
Like imagine, so you're just playing all these Arabian creatures. You maybe even got your City of Brass out, and someone just like plays the City in a Bottle, and it just says like you can't play any more Arabian Nights cards, and any in play are gone.
Right.
They go into the graveyard.
I didn't even think
that's
of
a
that.
devastating play, right? That's
Right.
a play that happens. So you have to take, and you'll see like people who play a lot of Arabian cards
funny.
are going to take measures in their main deck and in their sideboard. So I should mention these are 60 card formats, and you have a 15 card sideboard.
Okay.
So you'll take like measures in your sideboard to deal with like these. Like other people will have City in a Bottle in their sideboard for when they realize you're playing Arabian.
Right. Okay.
You might take those Arabian creatures out. You might put in more shatters,
Right.
disenchants. Yeah. Maybe if you're really spicy, you'll play Artifact Blast, which is
right.
You guys ever heard of that card?
Yeah.
You know Artifact Blast? Like that's actually the really only true answer to Bottle because it stops it.
Yeah, we should still read it out.
Yeah, it's 1 red, counters any artifact as it is being cast.
Yeah, it's very simple. Yeah,
very simple. Limited range, but it's also a great answer to shops decks, workshops decks that are playing all artifacts. That could be a very good sideboard card.
Right. And so you also said that it's Serendipity and Atogs. And so the Atogs, I guess you have a bunch of artifacts that you're just going to like try to get through with your Atog, clear the way, and then just sack everything to blast through with the Atog, who basically sack an artifact +2/+2.
So Atog is a 1/1 for 1 red and 1, and it says if you sack an artifact, it gets +2/+2. It's a really good creature. Like my friend Benoit says, Atog is the glue that holds old school together. Like it's hard to understand until you play for a long time, but there is a lot of truth to that because more and more people, fall in and out of love with it. But I think it really defines the format because a lot of people are playing the format with fast mana, and by that I mean like the Moxes.
Yeah.
So and the Black Lotus. So that's 6 artifacts immediately. You have a Chaos Orb. That's 7. If you're playing Atog, you're probably in a very aggressive deck. You're playing 4 Black Vice. You're at 11 now. Right? You have a Soul Ring, you're at 12. If you have any other artifacts like your Mishra's Factories, you're now at 16 artifacts. So you can see how quickly an Atog could be lethal. You've already burned them a bit, maybe you've hit them a couple times, and you got 4 artifacts on the board. You have an Atog, you're good for 9 damage at any moment. That means that any creatures they have, they just can't attack you with those. They must leave them there for blocking duty unless they have instant speed removal.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna say Doomblade, but that's not.
That's not in the format.
That's not good.
A terror.
But
they have a terror.
No, non-artifact.
Terror.
No.
No. Terror's good.
Atog is not an artifact.
Yeah.
Terror's good. Terror's good. Swords is good.
Right.
Blue Elemental Blast.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's actually really good, and that's a great sideboard card right against a red deck. Period.
Well, you can also like Hydroblast and Pyroblast too.
Yeah.
You cannot. That would be like you're thinking of pre-modern, but that's actually pretty.
It's Ice Age. It's outside, of course.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Ice Age is in there, but it's not. Wow.
It's not actually. Yeah.
What a reframing of old Magic.
What a reframe. Hold on a second. Wait, I thought I knew how old it was, but actually,
are the Urza's lands?
Those are from Antiquities. I believe. The Urzatron is from Antiquities.
Yeah,
the Tron lands are there. The shops, a lot of the Tron, the factories are there. The strip mines are actually an Antiquities land too, and that's super. Everyone tends to play as many as you're allowed to play.
Right.
Yeah.
Because controlling someone else's mana is like a big deal of it, and that's a funny thing. Okay, so here's a funny thing about old school that whenever I read stuff about New Magic Commander, especially. You see that people like now they're defining power levels of decks, and I can understand that it wouldn't be fun for someone like with like maybe a budget or lower speed deck to play against someone with a better deck, but nobody cares about that in old school.
Okay,
like in New Magic, I think you're kind of discouraged from like blowing up people's lands and countering their spells and doing and like taking cards out of their hand, like that's considered unfun. But like we think that's very fun.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fun when we do it anyway, not when it's being done to us. But like, I mean, like pawns is a strategy. Like blowing up lands is a strategy. That's a good way to, turn someone's deck off, or making them discard their hand is a good way. Like Mind Twist is, like some people don't like Mind Twist. I will say, you know that card, guys.
Yeah. Black X, discard
for,
X cards.
For your viewers, like one of the most busted cards ever. Used to be allowed to play 4 of them, black and X becomes how many cards your opponent is discarding from their hand. So it's like, you can basically take away their whole hand, and now they have to kind of limp through the game like a zombie until they eventually die, unless they draw very well. But yeah, those are in the format.
Yeah, I remember I only played against Strip Mine once, and it was in Vintage Cube. And I had a Mox and a Tinker in my hand, and I was like, "Oh, this is in my opening hand." I was like, "This is gonna be," "This is gonna be so good." I got such, and then I got Strip Mined on my first turn, and I was like, "Oh." And
you're like, "Huh."
Second turn, he got the Strip Mine back and did it again, and I was like,
Jeez.
"Oh, okay, this isn't okay. I'm dead. I'm toast. I can't do anything."
I can't play Magic anymore. Yeah, it happens. Or sometimes, you'll start off, you haven't even played yet, and the person goes like Swamp, Jet, Ritual, him you 3 times, and like discard 6 cards. And you're just like, I draw, go, like it's like, okay.
But I think also there's a big difference, because in Commander you're in it for like 90 minutes, and if you're
because you have 40 life, everybody's going slow.
And if you're doing nothing in Commander, it's really tedious for a really long time.
It is, yeah.
Whereas if
how long does the average game last in Boreal?
The deck I play, not very long.
Right.
Yeah.
Either win or lose, right?
Yeah.
There's some very strong, control decks in the format, and those decks can sometimes take, if you play tournament play, it'll be like 50 minutes a round. You're expected to get up to 3 games in a round. The first game could take almost the whole 50 minutes.
Right. Okay.
So the opponent sometimes has to decide whether they've lost but haven't officially lost on paper, and just concede and go on to the next game, or not. That's a scenario as well. With Twiddle Vault, that could happen sometimes too. The games can go quite long because they're trying to find out if they can go infinite or not. And then once they start to do it, can they actually win before they deck themselves?
Right.
And so this episode is going to come out later, but you are currently preparing for a tournament called Tundra Wolf?
It's the Tundra Wolves Challenge.
Okay, so can you talk
here
about
in Montreal? Okay, well, don't quote me. I think it's in its 9th year.
Okay.
It's either the 8th or the 9th year. I should know that, but I can't really recall right now. And you could, but I don't know if ChatGPT knows the right answer either. It's hard to somehow look up information.
2018. So Tundra Wolf Challenge started in 2018. So this is its 8th year.
But did they skip 2020, 2021 because of the pandemic?
I think they played it online, or they webcammed it that year or something. So yeah, it's a Boreal's the format. It's 4-strip. I'm preparing for it. I went and played last night. I'll probably play a few more times with friends over the next week and see if I like the way this deck is performing. But it is a combination of that Arabian aggro and that Atog Dib that I've been working on. And I sent you a deck photo, which is pretty blurry, maybe, or pretty shiny. I don't know if you can pull it up, but do you want me to say what's in the deck, or what? How would we approach this?
It's a beautiful deck too. There's so many altars.
We're definitely going to be
signatures.
using this picture for sure, but it's like an old school. It's an old school deck. It's got black.
It's an aggressive deck. It's a very aggressive deck. It's basically efficient creatures and burn.
Yeah,
right. And some of these cards are altered.
A lot of them are altered. My goal was to also play, I didn't necessarily optimize this deck because I was trying to play the most altered cards I could at the same time, but it's still pretty close to, I think, optimized. All the Moxes are altered. My Soul Ring is altered. What else is all the Lightning Bolts, all the Black Vices.
There's a couple cards I don't recognize. They've been so the Terminator one. I don't know what that one is.
That's an Urnum.
Urnum. Okay.
Urnum, and I have an altered play set from another deck. I think I sent you a photo of that, but that's the one I'm going to play in this deck.
There's a card in the bottom left of this image that looks like an artifact next to the Avoid Fate.
Oh, okay. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I like that as a meta call. I think that pairs well with Atog. That's called Relic Barrier.
Relic Barrier.
Do you know that it's signed? It's a 2-cost artifact. It's written right. It's signed right over what it says, but it says you tap this to tap target artifact.
Okay.
So you tap the Relic Barrier and you tap an artifact. One of the best plays, with the Atog, let's say you go to attack with the Atog, and someone's like, I animate my factory to block, and you're like, I use the relic berry to tap your factory, and then I eat it with the Atog as well. Like that's that's very fun. It's good against like things other people play at, like basically all the big robots from old. We call them robots, but like Triskelion,
Yep.
Right.
Juggernaut, Tetravises, Suchis, all these cards that are efficient to cast out with Mister's Workshop. It answers them, so it's an answer to artifacts, but it's an answer that allows me to also boost my Atog sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So it has this sort of like a synergy there. I don't have it near there, but somewhere else, yeah. So I play in this deck. I play one copy artifact.
Uh-huh.
Because you look at what this card can do in this deck, like it can only put 60 cards, and that card it's one of the most versatile cards in old school. So like, let's say I don't have enough mana, I could copy your Mox or your Soul Ring or my own to get somewhere. I could also activate my factory and copy my factory to create another land. That's also a creature because it's a factory. So now factories boosting each other. I don't know if your viewership plays with that, but the factories are boosting each other. Like getting 3 or 4 factories, that becomes a real problem to deal with because they're just they can pump each other up. It can also really, really amazingly can actually remove City in a Bottle.
Okay. Yes.
Say someone bottles you, you can copy their bottle. It's going to become a bottle when it resolves, and then they're going to see each other. Both bottles are going to annihilate each other, and so you can. So it's an answer to bottle in my main deck against because I have a few Arabian creatures, and then last but not least, it's an extra 2 damage for the Atog.
Right.
If I eat it, it has so many modalities in here that I feel like I have to play one in this deck. Like I've been playing one in my Atog list for a while, like probably for almost a year now. And I like it a lot. I sometimes have played as many as 2 main deck. There's sometimes I think my sideboard has an extra
That's
one. That's
pretty awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Here's a card that I'm curious about. I'm sort of surprised there's not something better. Psionic Blast, which is a 3 mana blue spell that does 3 damage to
4 damage.
4 damage to a creature or player and 2 damage to you. I guess I don't know the format well, but I guess I would have thought there'd be a better burn spell than that, just one that's cheaper.
That's like my day one idea of what I thought about Psyblast when I started playing old school. I was like, really? People play Psyblast like a lot? And then you look at it and you go, it's like, okay, imagine this deck. I'm just like, it's all aggressive creatures. It's full of lightning bolts and chain lightnings.
Yeah.
Like if I could deal you 4 damage, wouldn't I not take 2? Like, isn't that a great trade actually?
Yeah.
Like it's 2 for 1ing all the damage. Like, and not only that, it has huge reach. Like if you go for damage in one spell, this one does 4. That is more than the other one does.
Yep.
Right? And it kills Serendibifrites. It kills Sarah Angels. It kills Sengir Vampire. So the thing about this deck is it has a way it can kind of shift. Like it does seem like it's all about burn into the face, but it could become controlling. Like I could use the burn to remove creatures that are in my way. And that's, where some people will use Swords to Plowshares. I will use the burn that way sometimes if I need to, if I have to, But a lot of times I'd rather just take the hit and just keep burning the other person. Like that's also a judgment call, like in playing the deck and piloting it, figuring out when you need to use it to remove a creature and when you should just save it to send it to the head, like just hold on to it and send it there. But it's a great spell. I almost would run 3 in this deck, but I couldn't find the space.
One thing is interesting is you have 2 Serendibifrites, but you have 4 Argothan Pixies.
Yeah, that's a diversification. And that's kind of when I played Arabian Aggro, I put Pixies in there because I kind of thought I was a little bit weak against workshop decks, against their creatures. So Pixies is a 2/1 for 1 green and 1, and it says cannot be blocked by artifact creatures. And any damage Argothian Pixies takes from artifact creatures is reduced to 0.
So protection-ish.
Kind of protection-ish.
It's protection-esque. Yeah, it's sort of like that. Like so in combat and also from Trisk. Do you guys know what Triskelion is?
Yeah, we take off counters and do damage.
Yeah, that's a house. Like imagine that's such an incredible, like someone who has a whole bunch of like 1/1s, you can just like wipe their board and still have a creature on the board and then copy it with copy artifact
and then do it again.
And that's what makes it's the combination of copy artifact and workshops which defines that deck archetype. Whether you're going creature based or you're going with like icy manipulators and you're just locking down the board and you're playing stuff like Winter Orbs, which mean that their lands don't untap but yours are gonna. And you just, kind of grind them down in these grindy type of ways. So but anyway, so it's an answer to artifacts. I'm in green anyway, so I'm going to play Regrowth. It seemed like a good creature. It's just also, it doesn't suffer from bottle.
Right.
So if I get bottled, I still have a creature that might be on the board. So there's all these sort of
little
like,
metagame, like
mitigating.
yeah.
I'm mitigating. Yeah, you're mitigating. You're saying like a little bit more here, a little bit less there. Yeah,
I never would have thought that
like,
something like City in a Bottle would be like define the whole meta.
We have to take it into account.
Well, it's the chicken egg, the Arabian creatures define the meta, and the bottle is the answer. The bottle, and that's beautiful about the meta too. Like over the years, it shifts.
Yeah,
there'll be more people playing like this, and then so people play more like that, and it's I mean I've noticed I haven't been playing as long as other people, but since 2022,
amazing.
I have watched it change a lot. From when I came, people were playing a deck called The Deck, and it was largely considered the best deck and had been for like 20 years. And it's all control. It's like all counter spells, all swords, all the removal, all the disenchants, all the cheap, easy answers, and then just Jamid Tomes to draw cards. Jam de Tome, sorry, not Jamid, that's something else. Jam de Tomes is a 4-mana artifact that you can pay 4 mana to draw cards. So after you've paid 8 mana, you draw 1 card.
Wow.
And that's strong.
That's so funny.
Wow.
It's funny to think of it as strong in a pool that has ancestral recall in it.
Yeah.
It does well, but you can play more than one of them.
And it's reusable.
It's the consistency of that. That deck will play a lot of mana source, and it may not be immediately evident like Psyblast, but you will lose to that if you don't remove it very soon.
Right.
Because they're drawing an extra card every turn. Like you just can't keep pace with that.
They're drawing 100% more cards than you are most of the time.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah, exactly. So that deck could very well make a comeback by adapting to the current format, but it kind of got phased out when shops and Atog lists and very aggressive decks were too fast for it to deal with in the way it was traditionally being played. Although it also depends on the skill of the pilot, I would say, to a large extent. But I think the biggest reason it's not played is because the games take so long, and tournaments are generally played at pubs, and you want to have time for a drink with your buddies. You're not going to, and you know what? Anyone who plays against you is also not going to. So it's kind of maybe an ethical decision to not play it as much. I think that's part of it. I used to play it for 1 year. I played that deck only because I want to understand it. And I think it's one of the nicest things about that deck is that it interacts with every other deck. So every game you play is like a live game. You're not going to have any games where you are just you're going to lose out the bat. Like you might not always be the favorite, but you're always going to have a good game.
Right.
Okay, we should start wrapping up.
Okay,
I do have another card that I want to ask about.
You can ask. We need to start wrapping up. We don't need to wrap up immediately.
All right,
wrap it. Yeah, the Canadians are starting in
oh my gosh,
starting pregame right now. Yeah.
All right, the card I want to know about is Chaos Orb.
Oh yeah,
such an amazing card. You can't play it almost anywhere. I'm sure you must have some good stories about playing with this card. Do you actually like space out your cards on the battlefield the way we used to when we were kids, when like you can't have everything grouped together because then the Chaos Orb is just going to wreck you?
That's a good question. It's been errated.
Oh, okay.
To pick a target. You pick only one target. When you activate it, it can be like disenchanted or shattered in response.
Okay.
And it could actually, or someone else can activate their Chaos Orb on your Chaos Orb in response, and you don't know how the stack would work. Theirs would resolve first, so that would stop it too. You have to announce it. If the person says no other, like doesn't take an action at that point, there's nothing they can do. You then choose your target at that point, so they don't get to know. And from a height of 1 foot, you'll hold it above and you'll just go. And it has to do a full rotation and land. If it lands on the card you targeted, then that's a destruction. What's also really interesting about this card is that if you get to a draw, let's say you've each won a game, and you ran out of time to play your last game, it'll go to Chaos Orb flips. Whoever misses first loses.
Whoa.
Oh, well, that's crazy.
Like sudden death overtime shootout style, right?
But with Chaos Orb.
Wild tiebreaker.
So you're not allowed to rip up your Chaos Orb and destroy the whole board.
You can't do that. I don't think that's a real. I think that's not. I think that's an urban legend.
I mean, probably.
I know some people. Like I don't think that's exactly how that went down. That is a good urban legend. But people are really good at it. There's a lot of people who can do like 50 or 100 flips in a row, no doubt.
Wow.
And
wow.
So sometimes that can go long. So then it becomes 2 feet. Or like my buddy and I, we were playing and we were just kept hitting our flips. So we started doing it from 2 feet. Then we started doing it with our eyes closed. And then we started doing it where, okay, you have to like walk up to the table with your eyes closed and flip on the target. And so we're basically playing horse with like the Chaos Orb. So it gets pretty fun. it's actually my favorite card in old school. I
It's
think
pretty cool.
number one,
Do that.
iconic art. I think Magic is that card.
It's like adding another game to your
game. It is another game in the game.
The game.
Absolutely. And
it's a great card.
One of the things I
encourage them to bring it back. Bring it back in all formats.
Yeah.
It just should be legal. Like, it's so much fun.
One of the things I'm realizing is I think I might have some of my favorite art in Magic. Like, that's a crazy art.
It's
like
great.
vomiting a weird rock orb of lava.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I feel like the artist got like a 5-word description of what the thing does, and they're just like inventing all this stuff. It's awesome.
Well, that Mark Tedin did it, and I don't think he's ever made like a bad art. Like, every time he just sends it full send. Like, he full sends it. It doesn't matter what he's going to do. He full sends it. I know you're going to wrap it up. So if you don't have any, I want to talk about one card in my deck,
please do.
I want to give credit. So this is a card that I would not have put in this deck. I think I've looked at this card many times and thought, I don't think it's going to make the cut. A friend of mine, Lucas, he's an excellent Magic player. He has a great insights into the game. Like, he's like what you would call like like a Magic end boss, almost, like in the certain formats that he plays in. And so it's this card called Avoid Fate.
Yeah, I don't know this.
And I looked at this card many times. I've played it in other formats, but never in like the main 93, 94 old school. You know, I was looking at, he actually had a very similar deck list to the one. Like, he's arrived at a very similar deck list to me.
So fun. Avoid
he played a deck like that. Yeah, it's funny. Like, his is a little different, but not very different, honestly. And I talked to him before I built this was putting this together. I was saying, like, what was good, what worked, what didn't. You know, there's certain differences. Like, he plays Mind Twist, I don't.
Yeah.
He plays Library of Alexandria in his sideboard, I don't. And he had Avoid Fate in his sideboard. I said, did that like do well? Did it perform? He said it was an absolute all-star.
Wow. So
like,
let's read it.
Yeah, let's read it out.
Yeah. And it surprised me, but then it doesn't. So it says counter target interrupt, because this is old school, so there were interrupts, but it's errated to mean instants, or enchantments can only counter spells that target a permanent under your control.
Nice. And it's 1 green.
1 green. So it's a 1 green counter, like limited range counter spell. Yeah. Let's talk about what it can counter for a second. This is kind of the beauty of it. It counters Swords to Plowshares on your creatures. It counters red and blue blast trying to destroy your creatures. It's almost uncounterable because there's no blast that targets green.
Yeah.
It counters Spirit Link on your Serendibs. It counters Shatters on your artifacts or disenchants. Like, the range of cards it counters, when you start to think about it, are like some of the most played cards. So, you know, darn straight you're going to find a place that this is going to be useful in the game. And I took it out of the sideboard where he had it, and I put it in the main deck where I'm going to test it. I think it's going to be a one-of in the main deck. I think it's probably going to stay and make the cut.
A 1 green counterspell is always super fun.
It's kind of wacky, and no one expects it.
I really like the art too. It's like very yellow in a way that works better than I would have thought.
It's Phil Foglio. He has a really interesting style. I have some alters of his like that aren't in this deck and stuff, but yeah, they're really, really fun and cheeky. He has a cheeky style.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's kind of like, you missed me. Like, he's like like avoiding this little blast. Like, it's kind of hilarious.
He's in tights too, and he's got like a Seinfeld pirate shirt on.
He does. He's doing like a jig too. He's kind of like, he does. Yeah, it is absolutely.
And it's very fun. It was reprinted in Time Spiral, so it's not a crazy expensive card for people who play Commander. You want to play. You want to surprise somebody with a green counterspell. You can Avoid Fate's an option.
And if you want to play old school, you can play with all the reprints, all the whiteboard reprints, all the new reprints. As long as it has the old art, I think that's the idea of it.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be that expensive. The cheapest reprints of a lot of cards are extraordinarily inexpensive.
Yeah,
they're penny cards, really, right? They're penny cards. So, if anybody listens to your podcast wants to get involved in old school, there's like, just look it up on Facebook. There's tons of webcam leagues, even for people who can't make it to events. Like, if you're curious about old school, try it. Most of the formats are proxy friendly, and most of the cards are not expensive. Actually, just a few of them are. And the webcam leagues are really cool especially for people if you have like kids like I do, and you can't make it out a lot, and you got stuff with them. You know, at night, maybe once a week, I'll meet up with somebody, have a drink, playing over webcam, cameras straight down, and we just play a few games.
That's awesome.
It's a nice way to play Magic. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Old school Magic. Take a look. It's a whole world out there that I didn't really know about until we started talking about it, and I'm really glad you came on the show to let us in on the world.
I'll go straight back to obscurity now. Straight back to like,
I'll send you back to the Ice Age.
Yeah, it's a shadows too long. Yeah,
refreeze you.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Pete.
Hey, Vinny, Neale, thanks for having me on the show. It was really fun. Or his podcast is a show. I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
thanks for having me again. I hope we get to play old school sometime.
I'd love that.
That'd be a really nice thing to do.
I'm into it. I'll start saving my pennies and try to build
proxy.
proxy. Yeah.
If you come to a tournament, literally, like all you have to say is, I don't have cards. I'm interested in old school. Someone will bring you a deck to play.
Amazing.
Wow. Okay.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Like, that's the hospitality of old school. I've never found a better group of people
I love it.
in the world. It just somehow seems to select nice people to come together. Yeah, I could go on, but anyway, if you said he didn't have a deck, someone would bring one for you, and I'm making that 100%. I guarantee that would happen.
They'll strip mine all your lands in the nicest.
Yeah, it'll give you it won't be a
way.
good deck. It won't be a good deck. You'll find out just the caliber of person. He's like, I gave you a bad deck. Welcome to old school. Like, that's how I got a really bad deck the first time. Someone gave me a deck. I didn't have a deck. Someone gave me a deck, and I was like, man, it's such a bad deck, and I played. And this other guy had this super cool deck. He had put together all these old cards. He's like, oh, I'll play your deck. And then he proceeded to beat me with my supposedly bad deck. And I just thought, maybe it's not the deck. Like, you know, anyways.
You got to learn that. You got to learn that.
All right. Well, thanks so much for
joining us, Pete.
sharing this with us.
Thank you, too.
All
Thank you. It was really a blast.
Man, all these old cards bring back a lot of memories for me.
Yeah, for sure. I remember seeing all these cards, and
Yeah.
like I had friends who like started playing before I did, and I'd see all of their cards and be like, whoa, what is this card? What is that? What? These rats get bigger? That's crazy.
Yeah, to me, the Dark and Antiquities were like this other.
Yes, yeah. There's like definitely a before I started playing and an after I started playing, and because I started at Fallen Empires, and I'm sure for people who started more recently, it's way later than that.
Yeah.
But you know, there's that time like, all right, this is where I started playing. So there's the before, and then there's the after.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Revised was everywhere.
Yes.
But yeah, some of these other sets were like legendary.
Legendaries.
Yeah, in the legendary lowercase l.
Well, another episode in the books.
Yeah.
What a trip down memory lane, but that still exists in the present.
Yeah, why don't you take us on a trip down credits lane?
That's what we're calling it. You can find us on Blue Sky and YouTube as Untapped Libraries, as well as Moxfield, where all of our guests' deck lists are available to peruse. Our music is by Sparkling Water. You can find all of their music wherever you get your streams. Untapped Libraries is a proud part of the Podcavern network found at podcavern.com. If you have any questions, comments, or Black Lotuses lying around that you'd like to mail to us, we can be reached at untappedlibraries@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and keep building.
Hello, folks. I'm Katie,
I'm Vinny.
and we host the Learn Real Good podcast.
It's a comedy podcast about science.
It's also a science podcast with comedy,
Each episode, we interview a science grad student about their research.
and we keep it casual so you don't need to be a nerd to follow along.
We also share some of the latest science news.
I think you mean the latest science news.
Well, people need to hear more about amphibians.
Well, I agree with that. So look us up on your favorite podcast source and
Learn real good. Presented by the Podcavern Network.
Close enough.